Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop. All the news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's the host.
Good evening. Welcome to the Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Lindsay Davis-Stover. And tonight we have a very special show. It's Election Eve, and we are going to be spending the show talking about the hot races in Fairfax County, Prince William County, and Loudoun County. And to kick off the show, we have with us this evening Dan Lagana, who is chairman of Fairfax County Democratic Committee. Dan, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Lindsay. Appreciate it.
So tell me how you're feeling on Election Eve tonight.
Oh, I mean, we always, you always have the jitters, the pre-election jitters. But I'm very confident in our candidates. I'm very proud of the races that they've run, and so we've done everything right, So the chips are going to fall where they're going to fall tomorrow. But I'm very proud of our candidates and the work we've done. So I'm confident. So
you've done everything you can do at this point,
right? And
I think having been in a position to say that, that's a good place to be tonight.
It is. One of the tough things in Fairfax County is that we've got 244 precincts, okay? Over 720,000 registered voters. We've got 53 candidates running and 76 ballot combinations on election day, 76. And so, it's these local elections, which are the most important elections we have, is really where the County Democratic Committee, that's sort of our bread and butter. This is where we make our money, so to speak. Unlike the House and Senate, our local candidates don't have caucuses, right? So we're their campaign arm. And much of what we do boils down to our work on Election Day and staffing all of the polling locations and making sure that we hand out our sample ballot. It's this blue piece of paper that hopefully your readers will all pick up, or your listeners, your watchers, and it has all of our candidates on it that are either Democrats or that we've endorsed. And one of the things that they have to keep in mind is that there are 13, every ballot's going to have 13 Democrats on it, and but only 2 of them are going to have a D next to their name, and so that's State House and State Senate. But all the local offices don't have any partisan identification. So really, our sample ballot's critically important.
And tell our viewers quickly where they can get a sample ballot when they're going to vote tomorrow.
Oh, sure. So there are a few places. You can go to, first, if you're just interested right now and you're on your computer, you can go to fairfaxdemocrats.org and you can go to our search bar and you can just type in what's on my ballot. Or you can just go to Google and type in Fairfax Democrats, what's on my ballot. And you can search for your ballot, the Democrats running in your precinct, and we have that all for you, all their information, their personal pages. But for the sample ballot, what will happen is when they walk up to vote tomorrow, we'll have volunteers standing there handing out sample ballots. And we have every single polling station covered for every hour of the day tomorrow. So, it was quite a feat. In fact, many of our polling stations have 3 and 4 people throughout multiple hours tomorrow. So we're very happy, and they can approach a Democratic table. There'll be a big sign that says, "Turn your ballot over," on the Democratic tables. And the reason we're doing that is because we want everyone to vote both sides of their ballot. The ballot is so deep this year that they've had to print on the reverse of the ballot, which is normally when people vote, you vote president, Senate, and you're something like a bond or something, and that's it. But in a local election, you've got so many people running that you have to print on the opposite side of the ballot. So our school board, our magisterial school board, is on the back of the ballot, and we want to make sure that every single person votes in that. We don't have a lot of undervotes.
That's great. And talk a little bit about the races. It is a local election tomorrow. Talk about the hot races from the delegates down to soil and water, electric, Board of Education, county races. Let's talk about those.
So, we can start with why don't we start with the state races, since they seem to be really informing, I think, a lot of the attention right now, driving it. We've got 3 competitive House races in Fairfax County. We have the 34th District, which is Kathleen Murphy, which stretches in the northern part of Fairfax County and is sort of goes from McLean to Great Falls. We can just generally say that. And then you've got the 42nd District, which is Kathy Tran, And that's in the southern part of the county. And you can say that pretty much goes from Mason Neck in the Mount Vernon area and swoops around to around West Springfield.
Okay.
And then you've got the 40th district, which has really been a lightning rod for news, if you will, and attention is in the Clifton western corner of Fairfax County. And that's where we have Dan Helmer running. And that's really one of the most competitive races. In fact, they've had broadcast TV ads running across the DC region in that, which is unheard of.
Sure.
And then so in those districts, which are both overlap with Springfield district, right? We're getting into the complexities of such a large county. So the Springfield district is where we have two very good excellent local candidates running for Board of Supervisors. Linda Sperling, she's running for the Springfield District Board of Supervisors, and Laura Jane Cohen, who is running just an electric campaign. It's incredible. And she's running for school board down there. And these races are really drawing a lot of attention. And then another race that's nearby that is just as competitive and it's just getting a ton of attention is Stella Pekarsky is running against an incumbent Republican like Laura Jane on the school board. Now, both of these races are really, I think, critically important because both of the areas have become just so diverse and the schools have changed so dramatically and the population has. It's really going to be, these races are really shaping up to be about the future of both of those districts. And they're both candidates, Laura Jane and Stella, have just done an incredible job.
That's great.
And then also we've got Kathy Smith, who's an incumbent. And Kathy's won her seat in 2015, and that was a Republican seat beforehand.
Yes.
And then Kathy has been the supervisor there for 4 years, and she's running for re-election now. She's in a tough race, but I think she's
done great things for the county.
There.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of our other races, one of the interesting things about Fairfax County is we've got, we're so large. We're 1.2 million people, over 720,000 registered voters, and we have 3 at-large, single-seat at-large races. We've got Chairman of the Board of Supervisors in Jeff McKay, who's taking over for Sharon Bulova, and I have no doubt that Jeff's going to win. We've got Sheriff and Stacy Kincaid, who is, Stacy won a special in 2013. The voters reaffirmed her in 2015. They're going to do the same tomorrow. And we've got a Commonwealth's Attorney's race in Steve Descano, who is really running also a very electric campaign. I mean, he's running TV ads right now. The use of video and social media has really been impressive, but it's very hard for these candidates. Fairfax County is almost 1.5 times the size of a congressional district,
right?
And we're asking them to run countywide, and so there's a lot of pressure. They have to be everywhere at the same time, and they've really had to be nimble and use social media to their advantage. The other 3 at-large candidates are our school board members. We have 3 at-large school board members in Fairfax County, which is, when they designed the current school board system, it was each school board, it was the amount of at-large candidates was determined by your population. So we ended up with 3 at-large seats. And it is so hard for these candidates to run at-large as a school board because you arguably have one of the most important jobs in the county, period. $3 billion school system, 190,000 students, over 200 languages spoken at home.
And one of the top school districts in the country.
In the top school districts in the country. And you have to put the resources together and raise the money to campaign in its entire county. It is just incredible. And so you do get, this is where opportunities for the opposing party come in. You can find sort of chinks in the armor, if you will, and try and find ways to get your candidates elected. And so running a cohesive and a team, if you will, a coordinated campaign, which is what we've done, we felt was essential. And lastly, the Soil and Water Conservation District Directors. I want to make sure I get that right.
Yes.
They are, this is also an interesting position these folks, again, very dedicated, not paid, doing very important work, care about stormwater management. You need to pay attention to the Soil and Water Board. We've got 3 excellent candidates running, Monica Bilger, Chris Kerner, and Jerry Peters.
Yes.
And all 3 of them are experts in their field. We're very proud of our folks, and we're trying to do everything we can to get them across the finish line.
And you made a great point at the beginning of the show. I mean, the only races in which party affiliation will be on the ballot are going to be the state level races.
Right.
So state delegate, state senate. So all of the races, from the ones we talked about on the Board of Education to county races to soil and water, right, don't have a party affiliation.
No, they don't.
So that's why it's so important to pick up a sample ballot tomorrow.
It is. It's very important to pick up a sample ballot. And I also want to stress that our candidates really are and in Fairfax County, our local electeds have a history of sort of this very unflashy and constituent-driven service. And we have now decades of that to point to, and I hope that, it is my hope, and I believe they will, that voters will say that that's the kind of service they want. We don't need sort of grandstanding, making hay out of nothing, false issues, doing something to drive up attention on social media, which is, as you know, some of the school board members who are running in the districts that we just discussed tend to do, and very divisive. We need people that are focused on our schools, focused on doing the right thing, policy-focused people, unflashy folks, and that's who we've endorsed, and I think that voters will reaffirm that tomorrow.
That's great. That's great. Now, everybody is busy right now, whether it's getting to work on time, picking up kids on time, whatever the case may be. And you find that when you're knocking on doors, people understand there's election tomorrow, but maybe don't realize what's at stake.
Right.
Let's talk about what's at stake. Let's talk about why it's important to vote tomorrow. And on top of that, why it's important to create a plan to make sure you vote tomorrow.
Okay, let's start with the make a plan first. The reason you need to make a plan is because throughout the course of someone's day, if they have to do something, if something else comes up, if you haven't thought about what you're going to do to vote, voting will be the thing that you may disregard, and we don't want that to happen. And especially if you take public transportation, maybe you work more than one job, we want to make sure that you're thinking about voting. Unfortunately, voting is not, a national holiday.
Right.
So, people need to make a plan to go vote, think about when they're going to go vote, and plan their schedules around it accordingly. What's at stake here? I think we saw, you can broadly say elections have consequences.
Yes.
And I think we can point to across the river as a shining example of elections having consequences. Right. And what happens when not enough people show up or don't think about, maybe it's not a big deal. Right. No, it is a big deal. The county budget is determined by the Board of Supervisors. Every single thing that you see, feel, and touch as a citizen in Fairfax County is affected by the Board of Supervisors and by our school board and our soil and water conservation district directors. If you care about criminal justice, you care about the application of justice, then Commonwealth's attorney is that here in Fairfax County.
That's right.
And we have an excellent candidate running here. And same thing with sheriff. I'll give you an example. Diversion First in Fairfax County, enormously successful, right? I mean, these is what you want. If you care about these things, then you have to vote tomorrow. I heard on WTOP when I was driving up here, I heard someone call this an off year election, the guy. And it makes my blood boil. Yeah. Because this is the most important election. Presidency is obviously very important. I mean, we're living through this now. But everything that a local government does, you have a direct say into. Going in and talking to a supervisor over or issuing a complaint to him, any average citizen. And
Right.
you can't go. It's very hard to maybe even speak to some congressman or definitely a senator. But if you have an issue, you take it to the supervisor's office. You could just march right into the Mount
That's
Vernon
right.
Governmental Center. You have something about the school system you want to talk about, you can email your school board member. They're going to get back to you.
Right.
And so, this is really where the rubber meets the pavement.
That's right. And when people are making their plan to vote tomorrow, if someone is in need of transportation or maybe a little bit of extra help getting to the polls,
Sure.
where do they go to find that type of information?
Oh, so you can go to our website, fairfaxdemocrats.org, and go to Ride to the Polls.
Perfect. And
And
they're
we'll-
able to sign up
Yep.
and get a ride to the polls.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And I know we have a little bit more to talk about, but while we're on the topic of polls, they open at what time?
6, 7.
7 a.m.?
7 a.m.
They
Excuse
close
me.
at?
They close. They open at 6. They close at 7.
Open at 6, close at
yeah,
7.
sorry about that. I got my
Perfect.
notes,
No. So if you're able to get there early,
Yeah.
get there early.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Check it off for the day.
I'm going to be at my polling station at 5:30 in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. I'm going to be ready to go. Polls are going to open at 6 a.m.
Okay?
And then, throughout the day, we're going to have volunteers there. Then they close at 7. So if you're in line at 7 p.m., okay, you can still vote, but you've got to be in line at 7 p.m. If you try to run at 7:01, it's too late.
Okay.
So polls open at 6. You can't vote before 6, obviously, but 7 o'clock, that's the cutoff. So make sure you're in line, ready to vote by 7 o'clock.
And before we close out the segment, let's talk about the energy here in Fairfax
Oh, yeah.
County, because it is, as we were talking before, unprecedented.
It is unprecedented.
Talk about just the volunteerism you're seeing right now, the energy you're seeing, and just the activism right here in the county.
It's a little hard for me to, what we're seeing right now is just, it reminds me of, it's really a continuation of the past 2 years. The 2017 blue wave and the 2018 congressional races, this is just incredible. It is just electric. Dan Helmer is having hundreds of people show up to knock doors. They're
great.
running out of places to send them to knock doors.
That's great.
And what we tried to mitigate in Fairfax County is we knew there would be a lot of attention to the state races, and we wanted to make sure that we filled in the rest of the county with our own coordinated campaign. And it has just been, the response we've gotten it's been incredible, and we're very proud of the work that we've done so far.
Great. So polls open in the morning at 6
6 a.m., 6 a.m.,
They
and they close at 7.
7 p.m. Make sure to get a sample ballot
Sample
as
ballot.
you walk in the door.
Yeah.
Or one more time, your website.
FairfaxDemocrats.org.
Wonderful. Dan, thank you for being with us
Yeah,
tonight, and
thanks for
happy
having me.
Election Eve.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Nice going, Spencer. I can't believe we broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do?
We?
Go to the door, ask for the ball back. Are you serious?
It's my ball, Myrtleback.
I'm so dead. I'd run away.
Yeah, to Uruguay.
Kiss your life goodbye. Sorry.
Let's go. See ya. Remember me and your well.
Nice one. Some friends you are.
Keep smiling, keep shining.
Hi. Hi. Tell him it was an accident, and we can fix the window. Come on. I'll come with you.
Loyalty. Pass it on.
You go first.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. Well, it's a matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about ring-top fight. Nothing very nice on a homeless mind. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to the Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Lindsay Davis Stover. And this segment, we are going to be talking all things Prince William County. This evening, I have my good friend and Councilwoman Salonia Miles with us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you this
And
evening.
happy Election Eve.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an exciting time for Prince William County and for the Commonwealth in general. So
That's right.
It's a great time. We're really excited about the elections. I won't say that you never want to be overconfident, but I feel really good. I could not be more proud of our candidates and the work that they've put in this election cycle. And I think hard work likes to see reward, and I think we're going to see some rewards tomorrow night.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I think is so exciting tonight, as we were talking with Dan earlier, you've done all the work, right? And looking across the Commonwealth, we've just put up some incredible candidates.
Absolutely.
And you have some incredible candidates in Prince William County that I know many of them have been on our show, too.
Yes.
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 Talk a little bit about some of the top races that folks should be tracking tomorrow.
Just a little? Okay. Okay, well, one of the top races that we should be tracking is the Potomac District Supervisor race. We have Andrea Bailey. The seat is actually being vacated. We have a long-term incumbent who's not seeking re-election. However, the Republicans have put up an incumbent that's a worthy opponent. He won't beat us, but he is challenging Miss Bailey. Miss Bailey has put the work in. She did run in 2015, and she came within 300 votes. And this time, she has really knocked those doors. She's gotten excitement. The voters in the Potomac District are really excited to have her represent them.
That's great.
Yeah.
She's actually been on this show before,
Oh, wonderful.
too.
Wonderful.
And so she's a great candidate. Absolutely great.
Yeah.
What other races are you looking at?
Kim
the
Bodie
Bodie
is running for County Board of Supervisors against Ruth Anderson, who's an incumbent. And Ken Bodie has put in a lot of tremendous work as well. He's run on a platform of increasing our transportation and a lot of really strong progressive values. He would like to focus on making sure that we are an inclusive county that welcomes everyone that's here, and provides resources for all of our kids. And I know that all our candidates want to make sure that we provide funding to our public school system, and we're really excited to have them. Another race that we want to look into would be Rahil Sheik, who's running in the Coles District. He is running against a newcomer as well, but Rahil has put in a lot of work in the Coles District, bringing forth his plans on economic development and how he can enrich the Coles District. He's a longtime community activist who's been very active within his community and as well as the Democratic Party, and he has some really transparent and really innovative ideas for how we can enrich Prince William County and how we can bring economic opportunities to our county. So these are key races that I'm really looking forward to.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And these county races are so important because you mentioned earlier how it really sets the priorities for education, for transportation in the district. I mean, the Board of Supervisors essentially sets the budget for the county, and you can definitely determine what is being prioritized and what isn't. And so, as we were talking about earlier, where the rubber meets the road, that's what's happening tomorrow in these races. I mean, what we, are concerned about every single day in our daily lives is actually on the ballot tomorrow.
Yeah, our whole lives are on the ballot tomorrow. When we talk about all these things are connected, our public safety, our transportation, when we talk about education, all of these things are intertwined. So that starts with getting us the community that we deserve and that we want. It starts with electing the Board of County Supervisors that can reflect our values that we want to see as a community. By electing a Board of County Supervisors that can bring economic opportunities to our county, we can create more jobs for our people in Prince William County so that they don't have to drive out of Prince William to have adequate income to live in Northern Virginia.
Right.
We can also finally give our children the high-class education and the first-class education that we brag about giving them. So we will finally have a school board that has the support of our Board of County Supervisors where they can see their values reflected. Back in 2015, we were very excited to take the majority of the school board, and I want to say I'm very proud of them and the work that they've done. They've done some amazing things to bring education in Prince William County forward, whether that includes increasing opportunities for children with special needs, which is a very key issue for me. as a disability advocate before I ran for office. They've increased our graduation rate, and they are just going to be able to do so much more for our children and prepare them for their future by having a supportive Board of County Supervisors. So all of these things are connected. We know that poverty creates crime. Once we create more economic opportunities and we provide more educational opportunities, we will see a decrease in public safety, which transitions me into a couple other key races I'm very excited about, because we have an opportunity to bring about real criminal justice reform in Prince William County. We have a very strong progressive candidate, Josh King, who is a Democratic candidate running for sheriff. He is the first Democrat to run for that office in the last 16 years.
And Joshua King.
Yes.
Joshua King.
Yes.
Great.
He currently works as a deputy sheriff in the Fairfax County. Before that, he was a veteran. He served as one of our troops in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And his whole life has been about service to the community, and he wants to focus on compassion in law enforcement and making sure that he reflects in law enforcement the values that we hold as a community.
That's great.
Yes, and in addition to that, we have our Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Ashworth. I do believe that she has been here already.
Amy has been here.
Yes.
She has.
Yes. So we have an opportunity for real criminal justice reform, and again, feeding into becoming the community that we would like to be. We just have a real opportunity to be reflective of our community, not just in diversity and demographics, but in the values that we hold as members of Prince William County.
That's great. And I know some other candidates we've had on the show too. Maggie Hansford's running at the county level, along with Ann Wheeler. Yes, two strong women candidates that were just run great campaigns.
Absolutely.
And well qualified for those positions. And that's, Margaret
Franklin,
has also been on this show. Yes. So you have an abundance of good candidates
We
now.
We do. And as I said, I can't be more proud of the work that they've put in, and they couldn't be more qualified, and they couldn't be more prepared. As a speech pathologist, Maggie knows firsthand what educators need in the classroom so that she can propel that forward, and she'll reflect that on the Board of County Supervisors. And as a small-time business owner and a long-time entrepreneur, Anne is well qualified and equipped to lead us in the direction that we want to go. And she will also reflect the values that have been promoted and upheld by our opponent. We want to make sure that that's not what we need in Prince William County. It's not what we deserve, and Anne is going to make sure that we do not inherit those areas.
That's great. And as a council member, you know the importance of electing really great people at the county level. Talk a little bit, as a city councilwoman from Dumfries, the importance of electing really good people at the county level so that you can have a strong partnership.
Absolutely. Well, so all politics are local. We know that. And the things that the president does, we may not ever see materialize. We may not ever see that, feel that impact. The things that we see on the state level, we know that we see in July. The things that your Board of County Supervisor does and the things that your Sound Council does, you will see immediately. So by having a strong partnership with the Board of County Supervisors, we are able to provide more resources to our towns. We're able to provide, we're able to create more opportunities. We're able to close that transportation gap that we're dealing with in the town of Dumfries right now. And we are just having that partnership that we unfortunately have not had the option of enjoying. So just having that, we'll see how everybody works together and how we're all working well together, and we can give our citizens the representation they deserve.
Absolutely.
And so we also, I cannot not mention our soil and water candidates. We have three really great candidates. We have Masaran Kalan and Tiziana Botsino and Will Littner, who are running for soil and water conservation. And these three individuals, their race is important because right now we're facing our climate crisis. So with that in mind, we need to make sure that we take issues facing the environment very seriously. And these are three individuals who are very well versed and care very deeply about the environment and the effects of climate change and what we're having. These are individuals that are well read, and they know about the issues as we deal with them in Prince William County. Most recently, we had an issue with coal ash, and what a lot of people don't realize, that one of the coal ash sites in Commonwealth was actually right outside of the town of Dumfries. So these are things that they're going to be looking at, and we're going to entrust them to do what's best for not only us, but future generation, but our children and our grandchildren. So those seats where we're looking at the environment and protecting the environment are very key. Although they don't always get the attention they deserve, they are some of the most critical races that you can have.
They are. Now, in Fairfax County, we talked about in the previous segment, only the state level races have a party identification affiliated with the name on the ballot. And I know that's the same way throughout the Commonwealth. Can you tell us a little bit, if folks are interested in learning more about the Democratic candidates, is there a sample ballot too that they can receive in voting? Talk a little bit about that process.
So we have 94 precincts in Prince William County, and we are proud to say that we have all 94 precincts. We'll have representation from the Democratic Party on Election Day.
Great.
We'll have our sample ballot is blue, similar to Fairfax County.
Yes.
It is two-sided, so you'll want to make sure you flip over. Please make sure that you vote down ballot, because a lot of times we see drop off as it goes down. But we want to make sure we vote for all races, everything from the Senate all the way down to soil and water conservation.
And flip over the ballot. It's
Absolutely.
A two-sided
we
ballot.
have to flip both over.
That's
and
important.
For soil and water, remember that you can vote for 3.
Okay.
You don't have to vote for 1 or 2. You have a choice of voting for 3 candidates, so please vote for our 3. When you get to the polls, there will be a friendly Democratic volunteer standing outside with a blue ballot, and all of our candidates' names will be in bold, and they'll stand out to you. So these are candidates that we're asking you support so that we can turn Prince William County into the county that we deserve to have.
That's great. And again, polls also open in Prince William County at 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m.
And they close at 7 p.m.
Yes. Stay in line.
Okay.
Stay in line.
That's
if you
important.
are in line at 7 p.m., please stay in line and cast your vote. We will be there with you.
Good.
Our volunteers
Good.
will not leave until the last person is able to cast their ballot. So hang in there, cast your ballot, because as I said, our lives are on the ballot tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. And we've talked a lot about our lives are on the ballot tomorrow. I mean, we're talking about Board of Supervisor races. We're talking about school board races, state races. You know, talk a little bit about what you're hearing from people about what they think is at stake tomorrow on Election Day.
Well, Mother, I remember saying that I was excited when I sat down. And one of the reasons that I'm very excited is that in all my years of being active in politics and my grassroots organizing, I've never seen this level of excitement on the doors when I'm engaging with voters. People are getting the issues, they're understanding what's at stake. So I am so optimistic.
That's great.
And I have a great feeling about it because people understand how politics intertwines into their everyday lives. People are excited to go vote. People are wanting to volunteer, which is how we have all 94 of our precincts covered.
It's fantastic.
People are believing, and people understand that their kids' futures are at stake. They understand their retirement is at stake. They understand whether or not it's going to take 10 minutes to get from Dumfries to Woodbridge or 2 hours to get to Dumfries to Woodbridge are all going to be on the ballot tomorrow.
Right. Everything from transportation, education, even the fate of the Equal Rights Amendment is at stake, right? I mean, we are talking about such important issues. I mean, if you want to see better gun safety laws, tomorrow matters, right? If you want to see more environmental friendly laws, tomorrow matters. It matters on so many different levels.
It does, yeah. Oh, as you know, in 2017, we actually made history in Prince William County by picking up 6 seats in the House of Delegates. So we really need to retain those seats so that we can get the Equal Rights Amendments. Jennifer Carroll Foy is one of the strongest, fiercest advocates for the ERA. And I was actually proud to present a resolution to the Town Council in support of the ERA shortly after she presented it. But also Delegate Hala Ayala and Elizabeth Guzman are fierce advocates for the ERA, but also for education. The delegates also presented to the General Assembly a plan to increase the number of counselors to our students. And these are things that we did not have prior to their entrance into Richmond. And they have fights ahead of them. We really need to make sure that we get send them back to Richmond so they can continue on their progress. they have shown us by their actions, they've kept their promises.
Right.
They've delivered on every count. They promised that they would hire the felony threshold to create. They promised that they would hire the felony threshold for crimes, so that we could continue to create opportunities for individuals who may have made mistakes in their past, so that it doesn't continue to hinder them. And they kept that promise. They have made sure that licenses are no longer suspended, so that people are no longer hindered with not having access to transportation, which leads to not having access to employment and things like that. They've kept all their promises. Medicaid expansion would never have happened without the election
promise,
of these delegates.
Healthcare.
Yes,
That's right.
they have kept every promise that they made, and I know that we send them back down there, we're going to see gun safety. We're going to see the ERA, and the sky is the limit. Whatever they say they're going to do, they're going to make sure it gets done.
That's great. Yeah. And, you know, the energy right now in Prince William County is really electric. It's unbelievable. And we've talked about how many volunteers you've had, how many doors you've knocked as a county, how many phone calls you've made, events. I mean, everybody's just really pitched in an unprecedented way. Can you talk a little bit about that enthusiasm? And, you know, Prince William County is being called the bellwether county of Virginia. And so talk about how important that is for the county.
Well, you know, they say as goes Prince William, so goes the Commonwealth.
There you go. There you go. So all eyes on Prince William County
Exactly.
tomorrow.
So we really do set the example for the rest of the Commonwealth in terms of how you create a movement and how you bring that movement into fruition. So the excitement electrifying came into being because people realized that when we work together, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. When we work together, when we are willing to pitch in, then we can get the things that we want for our children. We can give them better education. We can get health care. We can get access to employment within our communities. We can get safer communities. Andrea Belli, who you said has already been on the show, she's a strong advocate for mental health. When you elect people like that, we can bring mental health to our community, and we can treat things like the opioid crisis, and we can introduce some preventative care so that we can be reflective and we can have compassion within our community without being what it is. I think people realize that, and people, once they realize it, got involved, and you're seeing the fruits of that labor. And the more you see it, the more you want to be involved in it.
That's right. And if people are wanting to know more about the candidates on the ballot, can you tell them a website they can go to find out more information about all the candidates?
Yes, they could actually go to mobilize.us/DPVA, and they can type in the zip code and pull up all the information that they need.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being with us
Thank you for having me.
I love being able to call you Councilwoman.
Thank you.
And friend. But thank you. Prince William County is so important, so I appreciate you being here tonight. Please stay with us. We have more Election Eve news to talk.
Your time is gonna come. Your time is gonna come. It's up to you to reach out to be that friend who comes along. Your day is gonna come.
When you make a friend, you make a difference.
Your day is gonna come.
Friendship. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
Wow! I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again! 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
What's it feel like when a woman's having a heart attack? Chest pain, like there's a ton of weight on your chest. Severe shortness of breath. Unexplained nausea. Cold sweats. There's an unusual tiredness and fatigue. There's unfamiliar dizziness or lightheadedness. Unusual pain in your back, neck, jaw, one or both arms, even your upper stomach are signs you're having a heart attack. Don't make excuses. Make the call to 911 immediately. Learn more at womenshealth.gov/heartattack.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create.
She did it.
And change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to the Inside Scoop. Thanks for staying with us tonight. The last segment, we're going to discuss Loudoun County, and I have Lisa Savaglio, who's here with me this evening. She is the chairwoman of the Loudoun County Democratic Committee. Lisa, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And Loudoun County, it's so exciting right now. You have so many great candidates, and that's what's been exciting about this evening and election eve, is hearing about all of the great candidates. But let's talk Loudoun. Talk about some of the top races in your county this cycle.
So one of the really cool things that's going on in Loudoun right now is we have the chance to flip our Board of Supervisors. Currently, our Board of Supervisors, we only have 3 Dems. And we have the chance to actually get the majority in the Board of Supervisors, which means that we can get so much more done.
Yes.
One of those very important races is for the chair. Phyllis Randall is the current chair, and she is an absolutely amazing person. She was able to get full-day kindergarten passed for Loudoun County, and we just really need to re-elect her to make sure that she can continue to do the great work that she's been doing. Another interesting race for that is Forrest Hayes out in Catoctin.
Yes.
Everybody has said that Catoctin is an extremely, very difficult district to win. We have a chance with him. He's a phenomenal candidate. He's going to fix the problems on Route 15, and I just really can't wait to get him elected. We also have Tia Walbridge out in the West. I could go on and on about our candidates.
Yes.
And then, Julie Brisman for Algonquian, and Sylvia Glass and Ashburn, and Srinagar Reddy and Dulles. And of course, Kristen Umstead and Leesburg.
Right.
So we've got some really, really, really great Board of Supervisors. And then on the state level, we have the chance in Loudoun County to flip a seat. Dick Black's seat.
Yes.
13. Yeah. So we've got a chance with John Bell to actually take that seat. And that is super exciting.
It is. We had John on the show just a few weeks ago, and he's just such a great candidate. But such a great delegate too now. And so he's got such an incredible record, not only of his service in the Air Force, but just his record of service as someone who's fighting every single day for his district. And so he is just a heck of a candidate to have in that race.
Yes, he's absolutely amazing. He was actually my delegate personally, so I'm really, really excited to be able to have him up there in that race. He's going to do phenomenal stuff, and we're going to be able to do things like common sense background checks and all of the things that are important to not just Loudoun, but to the entire state of Virginia.
Absolutely. And who is running in? Let's talk a little bit about the race. The seat that John's vacating, running for Senate. Let's talk about that delegate seat. I know that's a big race as well.
Yes, that is a big race. Suhas.
Yes.
Excuse me. Suhas is running in that race. Suhas is also absolutely amazing.
Great candidate. Yeah.
Like, he's so inspirational every time I see him. And him and his wife, they're just amazing people. And he's going to make some really, really great things happen.
That's wonderful. That's really great. So you, at the top of the ticket on the state level races, you've got some really important seats to keep and then to flip, right?
Yes.
And then you also have an opportunity, a really unprecedented opportunity in Loudoun County to take over the Board of Supervisors and flip to a Democratic board with, I know, the leadership of Phyllis Randall, who has done so much for the district. And let's talk a little bit then about the school board races. I know you have some big races for school board as well, and some great candidates. So let's go through some of those.
Well, and that's also another chance where we have to flip the school board. In Loudoun County, we have the chance to flip everything this year, and that's
amazing.
phenomenal.
Yes, yes.
So for school board at large, we have Denise Corbo, who was Teacher of the Year, and she's just.
Could there be a better qualification,
I know.
right? Than Teacher of the Year, yes.
Yeah, and she has been working so hard. So we're very, very, very excited about her. In Algonquin, we have a Tusareezer.
Yes.
I don't think that there's anybody who has ever knocked as many doors as a Tusareezer has.
That is great.
And she has been talking to the voters and, being out there with them, and she understands, what the school board needs. And then we have in the West, in Blue Ridge, Ian Sartocton. And he brings a level of humor to it,
right,
and makes it real. So you're able to go on this journey with these candidates, and they're talking about what they're going to do, how they're going to make everything better, but they're not just talking at you. They're having conversations with you. They're talking with you and allowing you to be part of it. And that's so important, because it lets voters know that we are going to be electing people who represent us.
Yes. And it also lets voters know, too, that they can be, once elected, a part of the policymaking process.
Yes.
And that's so critical, especially when we're talking about these local races, because as we've said all night long, I mean, this matters tomorrow because it affects literally our everyday lives. And, I know, too, that whether it's at the state level or the school board level, all of these positions have to work together. And some of the state level races that I want to make sure and discuss too, because I know there's some top races in the state as well. Wendy Goditis, she has been a champion, my goodness, especially for healthcare. And I know our schools and education as a former teacher as well. And she will be on the ballot tomorrow.
Yes,
and that is a big race.
That is a seat that we have got to keep. I mean, you cannot have anybody better in that seat than Wendy Goditis.
She's fantastic.
She is absolutely fantastic. The things that she has brought to the table, as you were saying, as far as healthcare and protecting pre-existing conditions and the environment, and she's out there getting it done, and we need to make sure that we keep her there so that we can keep getting things done.
Absolutely.
And she's also, we have 19 women running in Loudoun County.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so she's one of our 19 women candidates. So that's really big. We have a very, very diverse group of candidates this year, which is very important, because that way, we, like I said before, we are electing people that are going to represent us. And it's definitely time for Loudoun County to do that.
That's great. And another big state race, we've got several others. Mavis Tainter's running in the western part of Loudoun County. Talk a little bit about that race.
So Mavis Tainter is running, and she has been amazing as well.
She's been tireless.
Yes. She's got just a great, wonderful personality and these wonderful ideas that she wants to bring forth with her, and we've got a lot going on in Loudoun.
Yes, and great experience too.
Yes.
And I know part out west, and I'm not sure if his district touches Loudoun at all or not, but in the western part of the state, Ronnie Ross is running.
We have 3 precincts.
Oh, 3 precincts in Loudoun. Okay, good. So Ronnie Ross is running in the western part of the state. 3 precincts are in Loudoun for state senate, and I know that's an important race out there as well.
It is important, and it's also a very, very tough race. All of these western races are very, very tough races. They're areas where we don't usually have Democrats running. So it's a very, very difficult areas for us to win. But he has a little boy. He's a basketball coach and a teacher at the high school, and he's putting his values and his ideas, and he wants to bring them to Richmond with him, and that's what we need.
And he is running a fantastic campaign. He has knocked so many doors.
Yes.
I am so excited every time I go out to his district, because the energy around that campaign and the volunteers and the organization is just unbelievable, and how it has just drastically changed from just 5 years ago. The organization out in the western part of the state, the energy is just, you can feel it. It's electric all throughout Loudoun.
Yeah, we are definitely energized in Loudoun County. It's so exciting. We have over 500 volunteers who are going to be at the polls on election day.
That's incredible.
Handing out sample ballots. As you had mentioned before, and I've been mentioned a couple of times, there is no party affiliation to the down ballot races.
Right.
So you're only going to have that D or R at the top. Now, that is important because there are so many people running, so many races.
Right.
So all of those names, they're not going to have a D or an R next to them. So we have got to get a sample ballot into the hand of every single voter so that they know when they go in there who, you know, our Democratic candidates are.
That's great. And for our viewers, tell us where we can go and find sample ballots for Loudoun County.
So we actually have our sample ballots posted online at loudoundemocrats.org.
Okay.
So if you go to the website, it's right there on the home page.
Great.
You can pull up your sample ballots and view them ahead of time.
Okay. And when you're passing them out tomorrow, I know in Prince William County and Fairfax, they're going to be blue pieces of paper. Will
Yes,
they be blue in
they
Loudoun?
will be blue.
Okay.
They will be blue, and we're letting everybody know, flip the ballot to flip Loudoun.
That's really important. We were talking about that during the break, and it's so easy because there are so many races on the ballot this year, and to go through all those races and then remember to flip over, it could be challenging. So I think it's so important. We can't say it enough. Flip your ballot over tomorrow. Vote both sides.
Both sides of the ballot. We have to vote both sides of the ballot, and it's also be expected that it's going to take you a little bit longer to do your vote because it is two-sided.
Right.
So make sure that you have a plan to vote, and it's not going to be a 30-second get in there, fill out some boxes and leave. Right. You have to go through each line and flip the ballot. And then in soil and water, we have 2 Democratic endorsed candidates.
Great.
So they will be on there as well.
Oh, wonderful.
And you can vote for both of them.
Great, yes, that's wonderful. And in Loudoun County, as the other counties we've talked about tonight, the polls open at 6 a.m.
Yes.
They close at 7 p.m.
Yes.
And as long as people are in line, right, they're able to vote.
Yes, they have to be in line, and they will be able to vote. And bring a picture ID.
Picture ID, that's incredibly important as well. We talked a little bit earlier in the first segment about the importance of making a plan to vote. And we do have so many commuter voters all throughout Northern Virginia. And many are commuting to different counties or commuting into Washington, D.C. So the idea of making a plan seems even more important. Can you talk about the importance of making sure people do make that plan tonight before they go to bed, tomorrow morning before they go to work? Can you talk about that importance?
Yeah, it is very important to make a plan. Be on your way into work, on your lunch break. If you work locally, on your way home. Have it in your head. This is the time I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote in the morning. I'm going to vote in the afternoon. I'm going to vote in the evening. Put a reminder on your phone so your alarm goes off.
That's a great idea.
10 o'clock. I got to go vote.
Yes.
It's
a great idea.
So that way, it is so important. Your vote. It's not only your voice. It's your superpower. It is your way that you can change your area. You can. If something's bothering you, you can complain.
Right.
You can get on Facebook. You can do all of those things, or you can change it.
Right.
And that's what voting allows you to do, is to change it.
That's incredible. I love what you said about setting an alarm. I mean, just as we set an alarm to wake up, to get to work on time, get your kids to school on time, whatever the case may be, it's equally as important, I think, to set an alarm to go and vote.
Yes.
And if you have a smartphone or even an alarm clock by the bed, there's 2 ways, at least 2 alarms on each clock, and it's important to set both tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Set an alarm to vote. Get to your polling location. Get a sample ballot. Like I said, we will have volunteers there. They're going to be friendly. They're going to say hi.
Great.
They're going to remind you to flip the ballot to flip Loudoun.
Good.
And go and make your voice heard. Use your superpower. It's so important.
Now, when people are making their plan, if they need a ride to the polls, where can they go in Loudoun County to get assistance to get to the polls on time?
So they can find that information on our website as well.
Great.
So the rides to the polls are going to be based on what Senate district you live in. So there are 3 different numbers in one website.
So you really don't have an excuse,
No,
right?
no.
That's great. That's great. Now let's talk about, we've talked a lot about the energy everywhere in Northern Virginia, but it is especially high in Loudoun County. I mean, you talked about the amount of volunteers you just have on Election Day tomorrow, not to mention the, hundreds and thousands of volunteers you've had knocking the doors. Talk a little bit about that activism in Loudoun County.
It's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing. We've got people on the phones. We've got people knocking doors. On day of election, we've got people still knocking doors. We've got a team that is going to be, calling voters on day of election to be like, hey, you coming out to vote? Have you voted? Just reminders,
Yes.
and everybody is talking about it. We're talking to our grocers. We're talking to the cashiers, our waiters, our waitresses, our coworkers.
That's great.
Just spreading that around. Everybody's really excited. They really feel that this is our year.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now you said earlier too, when you and I were just talking, that one weekend you knocked in Loudoun County over 20,000 doors?
So we did 2 countywide knocks, 2 countywide canvases, and we knocked over 15,000 doors in 2 weekends.
15,000 doors in 2 weekends.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It was amazing.
That is
absolutely
great.
amazing. And the responses that we're getting on the doors, they're all positive.
Good.
We're hearing from voters. They're like, yep, we're gonna vote. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. It has been so great to see.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's such an important election. And, sometimes it's hard to bring people out to vote when you're not voting on the presidency or something like that. But these races are so incredibly important, and they really do matter and how we live our lives every day.
And your Board of Supervisors, that affects your daily lives. In Loudoun County, we have people who are getting shot by neighbors doing target practice in their backyard. Yeah. You want to change that? Vote. Go vote.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to commend you on an incredible organization that you're running. It's just remarkable to see how enthusiastic people are and how much they want to participate. And if you don't mind, once again, telling people your website where they can go to get a ride for the poll and to make a plan to vote.
LoudounDemocrats.org. Make sure to check it out.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us, Lisa. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching this evening on Election Eve. Don't forget to vote tomorrow. The polls open at 6 a.m. and they close at 7 p.m. Bring a picture ID. Thanks so much for joining us.